Hello, welcome to another video. We want to talk a bit about using Houdini and Substance Designer together to make some materials for games. I have previously done this for simulations and Substance Designer, so check out that video if you want to see this. So we're going to start out with a grid, and we want to change this grid to a bit smaller size, so 5 by 5, for example. And we will basically then have the points copied a brick on them. So let's make a brick shape, and by using rows and columns, we can control the copying of it. So we have a basic box now, and we want to use our handle here to maybe shrink down this box to a brick size. So it doesn't have to be perfect, just something that looks a bit more like a brick shape. And we also want to maybe add some additional details on this. So for my brick, I actually want to add a couple more divisions in the height, which is the y-axis. So in this case, this is now, for example, 4 in the y, so we have additional supporting lines. Now, let's start by using also bevel to add some detail, and we can also use the ignore flattened parts, so we only bevel the actual corners, not the full model. We can do then also an additional bevel by going into an edge mode, and we can just double click and double click to get these ledges, to get the edge loops. Then we can change our mode to poly modeling, and now we have a beveling menu when we hold the C button. Now we can bevel this edge, and we can also add an extra division here, and we can now change this to ramp control, and we can go inward or outward. So by actually going into negative values, we can actually force this further. So it's not limited to 0 to 1. So we can actually have a nice detail here on that brick with the bevel. Further, we maybe want to recalculate the normals. So let's set this to a decent value, maybe change it to area weight method. And this is now a basic brick. So this is what we want to copy now on the grid. So we can grab now a copy to points. So we will copy the bricks to the points, and now we can have to play around with our columns. So based on the sizing of your setups, this might be something like what I have, like 6 and 7. And we're also going to duplicate the grid to actually offset a second brick or the second layer. So we can actually, as you can see, have like this classic brick pattern. And we have to now play around a bit with the grids and the duplication nodes. So we can actually fine tune that a bit manually. And now we have a perfect laid out wall that we could use for tiling. So to make sure there is some more variation, I also want to place jittering, which will be enabled to break the bricks a bit more apart. And we probably also want to change the strength of this by using the scale. And we can also use the axis to only say this is in the up axis, which is again the y-axis. And we can also now use the instance node to control actually just like instancing values like scaling and rotation. You can force the normal here also by hand by using something like a wrangle and say that the normal is something specific. And it will actually make like a small difference, as you can see here, in terms of how bricks are rotated. So this way we can actually get back control. You can also use the instancing node here by using manually rotation options here to rotate them or also scale them as well. So here, this is, for example, my final result. Maybe add some more details to the brick itself by using edge damaging options. So placing the edge damage node and maybe going to a Boolean option mode, it will now damage these edges very nicely. So we get some more like roughness and variation. You can also do this in Substance Designer, but you can just do it in Houdini as well. You might want to instance this for performance. Now let's go into another part where I want to double check the tiling. So we're going to place the mesh tiler node. And in here we want to have a grid as well that specify the area of tiling, which in our case we can just make it also 5 by 5. And now we have to match this grid on where I would like to see the tiling. So since we are having these brick walls, I'm going to just match it here in the corners with a brick, and also of course at the bottom. So now with this mesh tiling nodes, we can then double check our tiling, we can visualize it, and now we have to fine tune basically the density to make sure that we cover the full brick density. So this is now a perfect tiling layer of bricks, so it actually modifies our model slightly, and this will just help out when we start to bake out things. Now, finishing off a bit further, we want to add some more detail by scaling up our model, and we're going to use some terrain features. So I'm going to scale this up by 100. And since we are using terrain, terrains are usually very large. That's why I'm actually scaling this up. and we can now project geometry in the terrain. So we can project our bricks in the terrain layer. Then we want to maybe add some blurring, also do some steps like noising. We have a bunch of noises. We, of course, want to make this a bit more subtle. You can have this a bit more dense if you want to, but just overall, I'd like to keep it subtle. Then we also want to do an erosion pass, which is based on time. So I'm going to say freeze time, and it will calculate for 20 frames, and it will add some nice details, as you can see here, some really nice details. We also don't necessarily need like the visualizer option. So if we go to our visualizer, we can just disable this, and we can now actually see some of the raw details baked in the geometry. Now, converting this to actual geometry, now we can just use the convert node. This is now geometry. And we want to then transfer this back, scaling this back down 100 times. And now we can merge these two together to create a result. So we have now these dirt terrain layers with the bricks. We might want to give this a color for visualization and for baking. You will see that in a moment. And we can also use an additional transform here as well to maybe control how much of this like dirt where we will have on the brick. So you can keep this subtle. You can always like go back with the terrain options and play around with that. But this could be a usable result already. Now, what we can also do is we can now copy our grid, and we're going to unwrap our grid. So this would actually be our low poly models. This will be the baking area of our model. So the only thing here is make sure your UV is properly unwrapped. And now we can use our baking maps baker to fully unwrap that. So what you want to bake is up to you. So let's say we want to bake things like the normal map, maybe the height. You can, for example, set it to 0 to 1. And also like the AO or vertex color, which will be the green mask. As you can see, like the green will actually be output as a texture. And once that is done, you can set your resolution and also your capturing area or distance compared to your high poly. So this could be useful if your high poly is like a bit bigger. So now we're going to just press render. Then going into Substance, I pre-made this graph here. So I'm just going to drag and drop my textures, and I'm loading here, for example, the height map. So this is the height. Then we can calculate also ambient occlusion for that. And here I'm using also a mask, which is the green layering from my setup. And I'm just using that to blend some colors together to get some rough variation. And also here, some normal maps that I generated or baked out. So this is then our final result, which is just a very basic tillable wall that is easy to tweak in Houdini, or I can do other things with this. Then for our second sample today that I want to show is some trim texture based approach. So we want to make some basic layout for a trim sheet. So let's start with the line and just align it here, maybe in the positive size. And we want to add points on these lines, which could be, for example, 10 or so. It's up to you how many like sizes you want in your trim sheet. So I'm going to just take 10 here. And what we want to do with that is we want to then edit these lines. So I will use an edit node, and I will color this green to make sure that this is like something that's not really fully procedurally, more editable. And I'm going to go into points mode and to press T to actually move around the points. So I can move these points on the line. So this will actually control how dense my trim sheet is. Maybe for better visualization, let's already do an extrusion here. So plugging in an extrude, and we're going to use the transform extrude option in the global space. So this will actually be my trim sheet. As you can see, like extruding this with the value 1, this will make it a perfect 1x1 trim sheet. And you can see now I can go back to the edit node and actually fine tune how my strokes or should be of the trim sheet. So we can just easily fine tune that with this edit node. Now I also then want to split the primitives into itself. So just primitive split. Now I also want to break things down into multiple areas or sections. So I have a group called Tillable, and I will have a group called custom details. So the group Tillable, I'm going to give them both some colors, and we want to then manually select, for example, parts that should be tillable in the trim sheet, and also a part that should be a detailed version. So now let's take a blast node and split this up. So here we have tillable. Then we're going to blast away everything that's not detail. And then we want to just have basically like the leftovers of the trim sheet. So this is the group called tillable. So these strokes should be tillable when we bake them. So I'm just going to simply scale them in the x-axis. So to do that, we also need to set the pivot into the center. We can use this function for it to just align our pivot in the center of the geometry. And we're going to just scale the x-axis. Then for our details, this is fully open up to you. I'm just going to simply use the lot subdivision to create some random shapes and details or slices of this. As you can see, you can just slice some pieces of the geometry here and create something a bit more custom or interesting for other smaller trim details you might need. I'm also going to again split this into single polygons because later if we want to do something with this, it will be useful. Then we want to just merge the three results together. So these are now the three different shapes together. And with that, we are going to again do an extrusion. We're going to do it upwards. And we are want to then also bevel this fully. So here we have like a bevel for all the trim sheets. So then we want to clip off everything that is not necessary. It's not needed, but it's just useful for visualization. So I'm going to offset this by 1 and I'm going to reverse it. So I have like basically a 1 by 1 grid space where I have my trim sheet. So this is now my trim sheet texture. So you can see that the top part is stylable, so they will be able to repeat for something. The bottom part is details. We can change the details based on what you want. And then the last part is just like a squared off area if you need something like specifically for the area. We can also, as you can see, go back to the edit mode and we can tweak those lines. So we can always go back and forward and start to define how much space is needed in certain areas. Then again, it will be like similar process for baking, but for now I can also, for example, calculate the connectivity data. And I can use this to actually visualize the chunks. So here I have a color or a masking color for each part. So this could be useful in Substance. So then again, we want to place the baking node. We want to place a grid that's 1 by 1. And now we can just simply bake it out like we did before. And that was basically it for this trim sheet texture. So this was it for this video as well. So hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to like and subscribe and see you on the next one.